What if Yuta Akotsu was around during the Shibuya incident? Would he run through the disaster curses Toji and Sukuna, or would he simply not be strong enough to make a difference? Today, me and Jaded are here once again to determine the exact answer for y'all. Now, as to when Yuta arrives, I believe it would be more of a fun scenario if he went after Gojo was sealed. It would work best since he's trying to let the next generation take care of it, and Yuta is one of the main people leading the next generation of special grades, so narratively it just works better. And if Gojo, who legit is stronger than Yuta, went and got sealed, it's not too far-fetched to say Yuta would suffer the same fate. Especially since he has nothing as annoying as infinity for the disaster curses to get around. That's just my opinion though. Obviously there are other factors to it, but this is what we've decided to go with approaching this what if. So yeah, if you still are going to complain in the comments anyway, then go ahead. With that being said, the next question to answer is when would Yuta arrive, and honestly, I think the best time for him to really take action would be a little before or during the battle with Dagon. This for me is where the scenario would be the most interesting, as after this point it's just non-stop action from Dagon's domain to Toji to Jogo's assault to his fight with Sukuna. It simply is just a roller coaster, and it would be really fun to see where Yuta would stack up in comparison to the bigger fights of Shibuya. So for those who are disappointed that we didn't get to see Awasaka versus Yuta, well, sorry bro. Now, if Yuta is there before Dagon transforms, then Dagon either summons his domain off rip or just dies before he can due to Yuta's sheer physical prowess. But I feel like that's kind of boring, so let's just say he manages to get the domain off, and now Yuta is with Nanami, Naobito, and Maki dealing with Dagon's domain. I feel like a similar situation when Toji entered the domain would occur here, with Yuta's raw stats just simply overwhelming Dagon completely. Since we know Dagon is probably below the likes of Jogo, who's not even on the level of 10-finger Sukuna, while Yuta is apparently relative to that of a stronger Sukuna, so he probably dies relatively quickly. This would lead into him then facing off against Edo Toji, which obviously Toji and Yuta are just going to go at it because Toji is going after the strongest instinctively, and since Yuta is there, well, there we go. So we have Toji versus Yuta set up, and I'm going to let you guys know right now, Toji versus Yuta is a topic I'm going to be sometime making a video on. But for this specific scenario and how Toji had that redemption moment, I believe although with difficulty, Yuta would probably handle the situation better than Megumi, and if need be, would rely on Rika until Toji puts himself out of commission. Now, this doesn't mean I think Yuta beats Toji. I honestly don't know at their peaks who wins just yet. I still gotta do research. And it's probably the case that Edo Toji is weaker than his normal self, since this Toji is like barely above in Megumi's eyes the Sukuna that fought him, which was not even 5 fingers, so it's a little weird to look at. He definitely can't take him out in base in my opinion, but he just performed way better than, let's say, Megumi. It would be hard, but I can definitely see Yuta getting past this version of Toji, and if you disagree, just go with it, as the video is trying to go over all the scenarios in Shibuya with Toji. It'd be kind of lame to just end it right here. We just started the video, so if you really want to argue, then maybe Yuta dies by this point in Shibuya, but I feel like it's arguable.
Now, if Toji for some reason just went for Megumi anyway, this would lead to Yuta being around when Jogo tries to eliminate the group. Before he can get his attack off Maki though, Akotsu would move in and save his friends and then begin engaging with the disaster curses. Now here's where things start to get a lot trickier. Jogo's relentless, plus his techniques would be very annoying for Yuta to deal with. Even the Sukuna who slammed him confirmed that his meteor would have damaged him, so it's more than likely he'd do the same to Akotsu. But the issue mainly comes from when Yuta uses either Rika's full power or he just expands his own domain expansion against Jogo. And if it does come down to this, then Akotsu 100% comes out on top, as Jogo's best feat is living against the Sukuna and being relative to Hanami, but Gege's made it clear that Jogo's durability is just worse than Hanami's and would die from the Todo and Yuji combo that he survived back in the Goodwill event, which Yuta 100% would scale to since he already has better portrayal than Maki, whose physical prowess exceeds both of those characters, especially by that point. It would be very annoying for Yuta, but without the crazy meteor, Yuta comes out on top.
Sayonara.
Either during or after this battle, Sukuna would have definitely made his entrance and fight the stronger of the two, which would of course end up being Akotsu. Sadly, I feel like his winning streak would end here, given the fact that he's already domain clashed with one or even two of the disaster curses depending on how you think him versus Jogo would go, and would be channeling some of Rika's strength, which does take a toll on him. He'd have a lot of power to pull from regardless, but I think those factors really kill Yuta here, especially since with Rika, Yuji already thinks he can take care of Sukuna. But Yuta wouldn't be at that level anymore, plus the statement itself is also pretty debatable, but with things like Sukuna's regen and a more refined domain as well, it's really going to be hard for Yuta to get that W.
Well, this would lead into Megami summoning Mahoraga, and now the fight becomes a 1v1v1. If Sukuna doesn't defeat Okotsu by now, then 100% Mahoraga, who's constantly evolving, would. Yuta has never dealt with something adapting at such speeds like Mahoraga, and Sukuna, who was constantly cutting Mahoraga, had to just rely on overpowering him with his curse technique because of how fast he was adapting. Like, I don't think you guys understand how ridiculous it is that Sukuna had to rely on his full power as Mahoraga is literally being torn to shreds in order to fully get rid of this guy. And if we're going by the what if, Yuta by this point isn't even going to be at his peak. He's going to be pretty drained of cursed energy and honestly just has no real way of putting Mahoraga down. And so I think this is where normally Okotsu would stop, but let's just include him in the final fight between Mahito for fun and for those who are curious to see how Yuta would interact with the likes of Mahito. Let's say Yuta passes out after Yuji reverts back to normal and we'd still get Kento and Nobara falling. This would then lead into Itadori and Todo working together, and if Okotsu comes in before or after Todo arrives, I feel like there's a chance of Todo keeping his hand during the battle, as Rika is going to be a pretty big threat for Mahito. And I'm not gonna lie guys, he really has no answer to this. So if Todo and Yuji were already able to finesse Mahito, imagine Yuta plus another being even stronger than him. Mahito would be cooked here, and maybe with Todo's hand staying intact, he could help stall against Kenjaku when the calling games start alongside his mentor Yuki. I don't know, I feel like that's pretty cool, you know? I think I'm like Oda. When Kenjaku pulls up, I can see Yuta trying to fight him alongside Choso before he retreats, which would then conclude the Shibuya incident officially.